mules. Your economy is insane.
Horrible.
All right,
Stronger
Trap.
by Kelly Clarkson, man. This guy, Trap.
Well, you know,
What do you think?
let's see if he's getting stronger because
He wants to get stronger.
7-7 versus Terran. This is part of which in an era of Protoss dominance, but a lot of that also coming back to the 2012-2013 season of StarCraft 2 as well.
That is true.
On STX, so not the most relevant stats because we didn't see Trap play all too often last season either.
Well, we haven't seen much of these players at all. Here's aLive, and yeah, we haven't seen this guy in a very long time. And he, I don't know that song. 1-4 against Protoss, 6-12 overall in Pro League, and none at all this season. They're putting him in this time as 4th place on the roster. It's a nice classical song.
Yeah. Is that Ride of the Valkyries?
I don't know.
I can't remember the name
I'm
of the
bad
song.
with my classical music, man.
I'm like, everyone's like, oh my god, Wolf, you idiot. That's like, no. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, aLive having a pretty weak stats to fall back on. I mean, honestly, if you want to look up his stats, like if you're an aLive fan, I just wouldn't even recommend it. I mean, I'm being totally frank with you guys. This guy has struggled for a while now in Korea. You know, he tried his hand in America. Let's see what he does today. If he's able to win this, it's all over. It's StarTale wins. We'll see if Trap can force an ace match. Down to the bottom center, it's Trap, Legendary Green Wings, former STX player, and up to the top left in blue, it is StarTale-yoe's aLive, former Fnatic player, and actually I believe before that, well, he was on EG for a little bit, but he was on ST-YOE like originally as a StarCraft 2 player, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah.
A long time ago.
Way like 4 years ago. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he was on EG for a while. He didn't really have nothing really special in his EG performances. He was part of that Korean contingent of EG when they had their team house out here and everything.
Yeah, along with JYP, Revival, etc.
Nothing too crazy. He's always been a consistent or decent enough player. He's never really done super bad in foreign tournaments or anything like that. We just haven't really seen him surprise everyone, I guess.
And something we haven't talked about Trap at all going into this, and some of those stats we talked about, I keep saying he's a former STX player because that's what I recognize him as being like in his strongest point so far in StarCraft 2. But he was on IM. He's one of the pieces of Incredible Miracle that StarTale has picked up here. And obviously with Incredible Miracle partnering with StarTale last season, he probably built some connections there, built some good practice bonds with his team, so he's got that.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, he's not on StarTale. I don't know what I'm saying. But he's moved into Jin Air now. So he had that Incredible Miracle moment where I feel like he wasn't put in the spotlight enough as a player. And he does know the inner workings of StarTale. That point is still relevant as he did practice with them a lot. But we didn't see him fielded all too often last season for Incredible Miracle. He's had to go through a ton of team changes. And hopefully now that he's on Jin Air, they're fielding him here. He's got that practice that he needs. You know, we've talked about this a lot with players like Bravo, for example, where maybe he didn't get the attention he deserved on the team that he was on. Maybe things were just not exactly as he expected. Maybe he didn't really just gel with the team.
I definitely think that could be a big factor in changing teams. If you don't get enough play time, if there's too many sort of ace players that they're going to be ahead of you in the pecking order, you maybe want to change it up, try and get some more face time. And I mean, obviously, nothing would be better for Trap than to go to a Kesper team like that.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying it's 3-0 on Monday there. That's sign talking about that. Not happening, though.
Not happening, buddy. We are going to see.
Zealot, no cancel, actually.
Zealot, no cancel. Looks like he's going to harass with it, apply some pressure. And maybe this is kind of like a stylistic thing, like he's read exactly what aLive does. Obviously, aLive going for that CC on the low ground. Guess what? That Zealot's going to have a great play until the Reaper finds him. Now he's going to be completely useless.
Well, if the Reaper hadn't found the Zealot could have done a lot for him here.
Yeah.
This is why, though, most Processors will cancel the Zealot. They get a faster Nexus, and the Reaper is just going to deny. I mean, he might even lose it, actually.
I think he should be okay with the Mothership. The Zealot will just survive, but he's going to be pretty useless on 18 HP.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely a waste of 100 minerals. I guess at the very least it keeps the Reaper busy while you make that Mothership core, but besides that, it's not doing much at all.
It's not the most optimal economic build, but there are obviously, other reasons why this Reaper could be useful. This Probe still gets a scout off. Or rather, the Zealot could still be useful. The Zealot, for example, can now be part of the main army, can help defend a push, for example, even though it's down to 18 health. That's just stylistic choice that could have been great, but ends up being mediocre.
We are seeing another Twilight Cancel follow-up.
Yes.
Let's see if he has a little bit more luck than San last game. Obviously going to be a lot shorter rush distance. Yeah, this map's not too horrible to get into the main base with Blink. It's still...
Oh, is he going to find this?
Oh, that was so close, and he does find it.
He finds it.
Wow, very nice. That's a very important. Stopping that pylon going down up there, that makes everything just so different. It means he's going to have to push out the map with the Mothership core, the Stalker, kind of clear that Reaper away and put down another pylon before he even gets close enough.
Which will likely be scouted, almost 100%.
It'll give everything away.
Needs that Stalker.
Ooh.
Both times aLive allowed the Zealot to get a swipe, and if that happens, then you got to get out of there. The Zealot hits a Reaper. Reaper's not sticking around anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah, we are seeing a very fast third CC go down as well for aLive.
I don't know about Blink on this map. There's basically, if you want to attack with Blink on this map, there's one location in the main that's pretty predictable. There's always going to be vision of that. And you can go to the natural. It's definitely not a bad build, but I think it's better for the Blink Feign than to actually do a big commitment like San did. And I think that's what we're going to see. He's continuing pro production.
I think if we saw the build that San did last game, this game, it would win the game. Because, I mean, look how greedy aLive is being. Look how late these 3 barracks are. I feel like he would be pretty behind if San went for that sort of timing.
Right. I mean, for the map was what I was more talking about, but for the builds, yeah, absolutely. Like that Reaper does eventually kill a Reaper.
Very greedy play from aLive, but it could work out considering we are seeing 2 Forges go down for the Jin Air player.
He has no scout information whatsoever about this. He has a obviously late robo to get an observer out. No sentries to hallucinate, so he has no idea about the third base. aLive similarly doesn't get any additional information with this Reaper either, though. But he's just playing such a greedy build, and it looks like he's going to get away with it. I mean, the Blink Stalkers can move across the map and try to force bunkers to be made. He's going to show them. But it's definitely not going to kill aLive here, who, by the way, already has +1 attack super early, is starting his +1 armor. And eventually, Trap will catch up because Protoss can, with 2 Forges, especially with Chrono Boost, catch up very quickly. But just for the time being, that's something to consider.
Yeah, it's a very fast +1. And he isn't going to make too much use of it. He's simply just going to use it for defense.
Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't have that much bio either. Like, I feel like a Blinked Stalker timing would have done fantastic against this build.
Yeah.
Just probably why San is so fond of it, because he plays against people like aLive.
Right.
In the practice house. It's like, well, I'll just kill this guy.
Yeah. Well, as we see this, army moving across now, it's just a few Stalkers. A scan goes down, and that's everything you need to see. Now he's like, well, I'm not making
that
any
is the
bunkers.
perfect scan, man.
Yeah, he's like, all your tech in one spot? Okay, I'm glad I scanned. He checks the obs. Doesn't find it, but the Stalkers are coming over here. There's such a late observer that there's just not even over here to be found. And aLive is like, well, I guess I just did everything perfectly right. I guess my build is insanely good against what you've decided to do here.
Yeah, it really is aLive's game to lose from this on out. I feel like he has such an economic advantage, and he's doing so well in upgrades already. He kind of survived the early game, which could have killed him because of how greedy he was, and now, I mean, he's up against the 2 base. He knows exactly what he's going. He's going, okay, he's going Colossus, double upgrades. I have even more time than I thought.
Well, one of the things that the Protoss will think sometimes when the Protoss is in a situation where the Terran is getting a fast 3rd CC, and he gets the Observer. You missed 1 scan for it, but gets it the 2nd time. But something that a Protoss will think when the Terran has a fast 3rd CC is, well, my tech's better. I'm getting double Forge upgrades. I'm taking that greedy risk. Well, I was like, I already got that too.
Yeah.
We're at the same point in upgrades, actually. The only thing that aLive is missing right now is Vikings for the Colossi, but the Colossus count is so small that he can just sit on his 3 bases and harass and keep Trap on the defensive until he's ready, until he does have those Vikings out. And Trap is going to have to be defensive here.
Yeah. He's going to have to weather the storm, try and get that 3rd base up. He is in position for this drop. He did see the medivacs early enough with the scout.
Yeah, the Stalkers on the map, so valuable.
Yeah.
Let's see if this gets anything done. This is one way that Trap could get back into this game if aLive makes a mistake with this drop.
If he loses this drop like straight up, it definitely really opens up this game again.
Stalkers have Blink, but not able to kill the Medivacs.
Yeah. He is moving around with a small bio army to the third base. I don't know if it's really going to be enough to cancel anything, especially with some spotter pylons in the way. You know, the Stalkers are getting out of position onto the mid, so this could do some work.
Well, it's going to be annoying. It will at least free up this pylon. Kills a Zealot. Okay. Just pressuring. But notice that Trap went all the way for the chase on those two Medivacs. Did he actually kill them?
No. The Medivacs are outside the natural now, so they're completely fine.
I was concerned because I didn't see him on the minimap anymore. I was panicking.
I'm kind of surprised that aLive kind of went home with him. I mean, if he was still out in the map, like in the corner, in the bottom left corner, he just flies back in when he sees the Colossi on the map. It's like, oh, okay, I can actually do damage now.
Well, this is the confidence that Trap now has with the tech advantage that he has this tiny window with these Colossi. There are 4 Vikings already on the way, and the next wave will put him at 8. So he'll be totally fine if he can get 2 cycles of Vikings out of this double reactor starport.
Yeah, you want around, like, I guess 4 Vikings per Colossi is kind of the safe
ideal, bet. Right? You know?
Yeah.
But without it, and with no Medivacs nearby, this entire army gets wiped.
That's a free 10 pop right there.
Oh,
he should not be on the map like this.
Gotta be so careful. These Medivacs won't get sniped. The Stalker almost escapes even because he knows he's got so much to fall back onto.
Some kind of a wonky engagements there from aLive. He's got to be very, very careful with his bio. It's quite an impressive army on the map. It can do a lot of damage. Can't even quite possibly take down that third base if aLive is just caught out.
Yeah, and you know, Trap has taken this so well. He knows these drops are coming. He's going to try to deny them. But the unload.
aLive panics. He should have more than enough to scare them off as well.
Yeah. But you know, the thing is that now Trap has a third base up with all his gases, and he has 2-2 and could start 3-3. He can afford that right now. And on this map, at these spawning locations, with how he's kept aLive back on the defensive, he's not scared about those drops. He's not scared about the drops of the dead airspace at the bottom left. He could just afford to get those upgrades, and he starts them right away, as well as charge and additional gates that he can power up to get those extra Zealots out with the extra money he has, those extra minerals.
It's actually really impressive that he's managed to do that, like to keep these upgrades, get the upgrade advantage now, go into Colossi, be as greedy as he was, simply because of how greedy aLive was. He really could not apply pressure, and it really gave Trap a way back into this mid game to the late game. Very comfortable sort of transition.
He's just so confident to keep his Stalkers away from his army. He has so much vision on the map that he doesn't need his Stalkers on the main base. He's not scared about drops because he's always watching the drops. He's always poking with his Stalkers now.
He's like a Zealot spotter on the bottom left of the map just in case.
Yeah. Big blink forward here. Just having those Stalkers do as much damage to armor as they can. Vikings a little bit out of position here. And they're not all together. Stalkers blink forward again.
Oh, wow. Really nice engagement from Trap. He's focusing down the wall.
This is terrible for aLive.
This is absolutely horrible. Every Viking is gone.
It's all gone.
And guess how many Colossi are left? 5 Colossi are left.
This aLive just fell apart here. Trap played very well. Very safe, made some good choices, but aLive, man, was just some of the decision-making he was doing. He's trying to switch to Ghosts right now, which just doesn't even really make sense.
He just didn't have enough Vikings to start with, and he took such bad fights consistently outside his natural, like around his third base, to the point where he just died. And now there's no way back. He's down 40 supply. Archons are being morphed inside.
Yeah. Well, this is game over for sure, Moonglade, but aLive trying to make something work. He's got a nice solid defense at his third, but it's going to eventually fall. Not enough Vikings here. There's like more Colossi than there are Vikings, and that's never a good sign. Even a Warp Prism, like you said, making those Archons and just continuing to warp in right in his face. GG. And that'll seal the deal. GG.
What a wonky, weird game that I am. Not a fan of aLive, man. I don't know what went wrong there. Like I'm looking at it like he had a great start to the game. He survived everything. He didn't really take any damage.
He was too far out on the map. Remember what I was saying earlier about there's the one advantage Pross has in this situation is his tech and his upgrades, oftentimes is what that is, but he didn't have the upgrade advantage because aLive was tied with him. But then he was too far out on the map when he didn't have Vikings to deal with Colossi.
It's just like everything's out of position.
Yeah.
The bottom line is aLive is out of position.
He's always on the wrong place at the wrong time.
And he's taking fights where he should be running for his life.
And Trap knew that he was getting some stuff done with his Stalkers. As soon as he had all the spotters for the drops and aLive just quit dropping, he just quit. His Stalkers were out picking off Vikings. They're picking off Marauders.
Like these